Okay, so recording start and it's taking notes as well. So please, those colleagues that were knocked off by the call, they should join back. Oh, tell them to join back, please. It happens like that. Okay. When I'm trying to start a recording or a transcription or a note taking session, usually one or two persons will be knocked off, and then in the end, they'll still find their way out. They have to find their way back in. What's going on with my network this just now? I just finished a session on Zoom, and then it was quite okay. Somebody said the audio is sounding low. Is that
Yes,
how
sir,
it
it's a
is?
network. The audio is okay.
Okay, so if you're, can you
Sir,
try and use
network.
your
The network has been bad since morning.
Sir, it's really, really bad.
okay. Okay, let me tell her to do what now. Let her reset or use her. Try using what now? Try using your speaker, your phone speaker instead. Okay. Or reset your network to the connection. All right, we need to rush because there's a lot we need to do. All right. In our last class, we started looking at there are some things I need to separate all the more. That's what's going on. I think I need to separate the orientation session materials. That's the way I've separated past question materials. How many of you have seen past questions? You've seen the past questions separated, right? In the folder, everybody should have seen past questions. Anyone that wants to read, though, will know that there's no material that you need in this course that you will not find. Everything is looking at you there, staring at you. All right, all right, all right. We got as we said from our last class that we want to look at the topics in this order. We want to look at the topics in this order. I'm not seeing my monitor screen, so let me monitor what people are seeing from my laptop, although I can see it from my phone screen. All right, all right, all right, all right. Good. So we said issues that have the direct bearing on business we'll treat, issues that have direct bearing on society or that speaks solely or more, okay, of society we'll treat, and issues that also look at the entire field more from the government, or I don't say government, I mean the political and legal perspective, we will also treat. So let's see how fast we can go because your exam starts on when? I learned it's on 5th of September. It means we just have like three classes, right? Before then. Wow. Like, wow. Three classes, one, two, three. It's BSAQ 301 now. After the classes, we have three. Okay. Wow. So let's see how fast we'll go. Okay. For information, I'm just lecturing. Okay. I'm not coming to read notes for you. In other words, you're supposed to just follow the guide. I'm going to guide you on how to understand what you read when you read it, if you read it, right? I'm meant to guide you to understand what you will read when you read it, if you do so. Why that one is rolling. Let's come back here. Someone wants to speak. Please go on. Okay, that's a message. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yes,
hear you
sir.
from my end.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Thank you very much. Sorry. Something I was pursuing since morning, just and it had not clicked. I've not gotten it yet. Yeah, someone dropped a message. What's the message about? Okay, well, let's move on anyway. In our last two classes, we did corporate governance. We're looking at everything corporate. Another one is corporate ethics, right? Corporate ethics. That's another word for business ethics. You can even say corporate governance can be called what? Business governance. Corporate social responsibility can be called what? Business social responsibility. While business ethics can also be called what? Corporate ethics. So you've understood that term, corporate. So just what's in front that you need to understand. So just remember corporate governance, how businesses are governed, right? Yeah, how businesses are governed. And then, okay, let me just chip this in, please. The LMS, that is the learning management system. Okay, the learning management system, that's LMS. The way it receives answers from in assignments is like when you open it, you see that it's like a chart. There's just a field where you will type something, and then while you're typing, there's also a place where you can attach a file. Okay, so that's the reason why I always want students. The thing that is in the file, you're supposed to upload a file for your assignment. But the content of your file, that thing you have written in the file, also paste it in that comment section. That's what I mean. Okay. And the reason is that sometimes the file upload is the main thing. But sometimes the file upload may have a glitch, may encounter a glitch, either at the time you're uploading it or at the time I am trying to download it or work with it. So if you don't paste the content and that thing happens, probably it's happening at the last minute where I need to just quickly wrap up so that I have to wait till the last minute so everybody that has not submitted will submit. And then once I submit, I'm sending it to your coordinator. I can't be looking for you and say, hello, who is this person? Who is that person? No. So that's how you should do it those ways. Okay. So in our last class, we started looking at corporate social responsibility, which is a broad topic. So we are going to look at corporate social responsibility as expanding into business ethics and even this aspect that talks about ecological environmental issues. Okay, in our courseware, it's termed as environmental concerns and corporations. Okay, environmental concerns and corporations. But I think it all flows from being socially responsible, because if business takes care of its economic responsibility, so we saw that right in the pyramid, right? If business takes care of its economic responsibility and also takes care of its what do you call that? Its what are the responsibilities? Legal responsibility. Okay, the next thing it should be doing is its ethical responsibility, right? So you see now ethics comes to play. It's connected. Part of it also we now extend part of the ethical responsibility we extend to what do you call it now? Environmental being responsibility to the environment. Right. So that's why I feel or I see all of those topics under I see all of those topics under what do you call it again? Under corporate social responsibility. So they are broad in themselves. Okay, where are we? I'm trying to catch myself now because I just finished a class on a different course altogether. And then all right, this one I always have to scroll. It's gonna be far for me to. I'm not using a PDF reader. I'm using my browser directly. So scrolling might not be so convenient. Good. So we're at corporate governance. I think this was preceded by what? Okay. Models of BGS relationship. Right and treatment. Okay, good. So this is where we start discussing corporate social responsibility and the respective models. So please, I don't know if I've posted the link to our last lecture on the file that has them all. But if I have not, it simply means I have to either do it tonight or wait for this one to come out, so that I'm going to do both of them at the same time. Not here, not here. Oh my goodness, why am I searching for these things for? This is public policy. Environmental concerns and corporations. I think that should be followed by a topic on risk, on business ethics also. We are still under environmental concerns here. This will be under environmental concerns. Open. Environmental concern. Most polluted places. Look at issues that you need to study here. Seriously, I'm just giving you expo to the exam. I don't give students expo to the exam, so that like I've given you guys. Okay, business ethics, business ethics, business ethics. So this is where we are. These are the things we started studying in our last class. Good. So we're there now. Back to the note. The note shouldn't be difficult to locate. Yeah. Once we're here, we know where we are. Environmental issues. These are environmental issues. Fine. So I didn't ask us to go too deep. I didn't go too deep here, but in your note, you have to go, in your courseware, you have to go that deep. Okay. In your courseware, you have to go that deep. Good. So looking at all of these. We have then the discussion tonight is too much.
Sorry, sir.
Thank you so much. Not from your end, or from my own end. All right. So we have discussed all of this. We've defined what business ethics is, and then we've looked at code of ethics, right? What the codes are, written rules that are meant to deal with the challenges. Am I carrying you enough from the previous class? I don't know. I don't know how well, especially for those who were not in the previous class. But we're looking at business ethics, talking about what is right and what is wrong, but streamlined to the perspective of morals, not just legals. Okay, because when you look at things from the eyes of the law, there are some things that may be legal that another perspective, probably the moral perspective, may still consider as immoral, right? And that also depends on the setting. In Africa, when we look at issues around same-sex marriages, abortion, we will say they are immoral. And in Africa also, our own laws may consider them to be illegal. But when you go to some other countries, those things might be legal, right? It might be legal on the right hand, and in that same community, some it might be considered immoral yet legal. Okay, good. So that's the idea. You need to know that there are different perspectives to what is right as to what is wrong, and these perspectives also differ from one community or society to another. So when we say ethics, we are referring to the part where it's concerned morality, not just everything that there is. Okay, where it concerns what? Morality. So when these things now come into the business space, where the issues about right and wrong will have to be determined, that's what we can now say is called what? Business ethics or corporate ethics. So we say corporate ethics is the study of business situations, activities, and decisions, etc., where matters of right and wrong in terms of morals are addressed. Okay, in terms of morals are addressed. So that's how we got there. Okay, so you need to study all of this on your own. It's a branch of ethics that examines the ethical principles and the moral problems that arise in business environment. Okay, it applies to all aspects of business conduct, and is relevant to the conduct of individuals, managers, Oga manager, are you ethical enough? I remember when I was taking the first time I took a course on ethics, when I was doing Nigerian Institute of Management program back then, 2009 or so. The lecturer was just brought plenty newspapers and was reporting issues upon issues of corruption and all of this. Okay, how this one stole some billion, how this one stole, and then, but it goes beyond that actually. Okay, there are some small things also that are hidden, and then there are some things that are not money related. Could be, yeah, they have conflict of interest. Okay, now just read all of these things anyway, so that we can move on. I want us to get to environmentalism tonight and possibly finish it. Okay, so we said business ethics is the study of business situations and activities and decisions, where we discussed this before. And then code of ethics. Okay, code of ethics, where rules are written in specific areas. Okay, that's those areas can include these following areas. Okay, where bribes are or issues of bribery can come up, where there can be conflict of interest, and then political contributions, honesty of books, changing figures, okay, customers and supplier relationships, misappropriation of corporate assets, and then confidentiality of corporate information. Many organizations, by the time you're joining, you are you are you're going to sign a document they call non-disclosure agreement. Okay, so those are probably issues. So I said here, read up deeply. The other contents are straight, and that's the other content we have here. Okay, so let's look at them. Corporate ethics, we talked about it. So you can zoom out a little and a little more. Good, this is fine. Great. What now? Look at this part. As you've seen it now, study all of these parts. Look at this word that's highlighted. What is an ethical company? Okay, when you say a company is ethical, what does it mean? Find that out when you read all of this. Okay, find that out when you read all of this. A company that is dedicated to making sure that their ethics, their ethical practices, their practices are ethical. Okay, that's actually an ethical company. So go ahead and study all of those. Okay, good. I've also have I explained this part. Wish I finished this topic the last time. Seriously. Okay, study characteristics of business ethics. They are straightforward. I'm not going to read for you here. Study it is straightforward. Okay, business ethics are principles. They are principles, and those principles guide the people that are in business when they are carrying out their business function. Okay, now it's a discipline because people have to study it as a course, like you're doing now, and so on and so forth. The need of business ethics. This question has come up many times. Okay, number one, stopping business malpractices. Number two, improving customer confidence. Right, this one don't need explanations. Survival of business. Okay, business ethics actually help businesses to survive and exist in the long run. safeguard customers' rights, protect employees and shareholders, develop good relations, create good image for the organization. Okay. Now this is also different from, okay, from, that should be the next point that's there, the importance, which is listed here, about 10 of them. So please, while you're studying, study the need for business ethics differently. Then study the importance. Why is it important that business ethics should become an area of study? Why should we study ethics? This should be importance of business ethics as an area of study, so that you should be able to differentiate it from the need for business ethics. Okay, so please study this need for business ethics also. Although exam questions will not come from there this year, okay, because it has been overflogged, but it will resume very soon, but not this year, not this session. Importance of business ethics as as an area of study. Okay, business. There are many reasons that are given here, so that will make you understand why we should study it. We say power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, like they say, right? And business has what they call money power. You remember your market capitalism model, right? So with that power, they can do and undo. That's what this first point is saying. So that's why they must study it. So that's why the fact that there's so much power in the hands of business, the business will still operate in such a way that it doesn't violate, right? Good. Now, there's also much that the society can benefit from business, apart from just providing goods and services. Businesses can pay taxes. Businesses can provide employment. Okay, businesses can even help the economic development. Those are why you need to study business ethics. So a business that is ethical will definitely do all of those things. Business malpractices, okay, can be dangerous. And be dangerous to people in the communities. Like you see in Big Pharma today. I mean, if you know Big Pharma, you know Big Pharma. Everybody in the world should know Big Pharma. Oh. But Big Pharma are those big pharmaceutical companies that produce drugs, right? So they're out to make money. That's why you need to be careful the kind of medicines that you use, you buy, and when they get into their trap, you become somebody who live on medicines. You live on medicine. There's a particular medicine that you have to be taking every once in a while. Otherwise, just so that big pharma has caught you. Those are unethical practices. Okay, these are business malpractices that have inflicted harm, and they connive. They just join all the efforts together so that they will keep getting customers that will be coming to buy medicine. And doctors will just go to school and read what's there as if it's right. Anyway, okay, number 4, the society has an increasing demand on businesses to be ethical. Okay, what that means is that businesses have to meet up with this expectation. Otherwise, society can affect businesses in negative ways. So these are straightforward points. Read them up. Read them up. Approaches. For example, this is where you start reading. Approaches to business ethics. We have the profit motive approach. We have the legal approach. We have the moral obligations approach. Okay. The principles of business ethics. Okay, this is you read from in your exam. Okay, I'm telling you this one now. The principles of business ethics developed by well-known authorities like Kant, J.S. Mill, Herbert Spencer, Plato. These are ancient. Okay, Thomas Garrett, Woodward, Wilson, etc. They are as follows. Number one. Number one, sacredness of means and ends. How did you get this money and how did he end up? The way he ends up cannot tell us how he got the money. That's what it simply means, okay? Don't go and write it like that anyway. Just understand it the way it is here. It says the first and most important principles of business ethics emphasizes that the means and techniques adopted to serve the business ends must be sacred and pure. It means that a good end cannot be attained with wrong means. Okay, even if it's beneficial to the society. Principle number two. Here is principles of business. Principle number two: not to do any evil. So you say it is unethical to do a major evil to another person or to yourself, whether the evil is a means to an end. Okay, just like what the gate is trying to do now. They call it population sustainability. I don't know if you have heard about that. Population sustainability, and you think it's a narrative. Population sustainability. They fund it. They release money. They pump money into it. They fund it so that people will buy into the narrative. That's how they send products that will reduce fertility rates, reduce the lifespan of people. It will not kill you instantly, but then they will now say the lifespan, life expectancy in Nigeria averagely is 40 years. What that means is that averagely people live around 40 years and they die. That's what they mean. Who told them? Who told them that they are predicting it based on the product they are sending to you? They know that if you continue eating thick milk that has fluoride inside, or you continue using toothpaste every day, so while you swallow that fluoride gradually, your lifespan is not supposed to pass like this. Okay, I hope I'm not scaring you because there are so many
Really scary.
there are so many unethical issues in the world today, and they are pouring it on Africa. You see all these issues around climate, climate, climate smart, whatever, climate change. It started from global warming, and they see that the warming was not warming over 50 years. Nothing was warming. And I said, so let's change it to what now? Climate change. And nothing is still changing truly. It's just the normal cycle of the weather that we're having. But because of what they want to achieve, control over resources to ensure that they always have our resources anytime, they're driving all of these things. And these are, anyway, let's go on. Principle of proportionality. This principle suggests that one should make proper judgment before doing anything so that others do not suffer. So if you know people who are in a position of deciding NAFDAC and co, like you see, people who are in a position of deciding things around NAFDAC, crop production, all of these things, they have to do a proper judgment. They have to study very well and know. Like today, our ginger market in Nigeria has been greatly affected by foreign inputs. When I say ginger market, I mean our farms, the farms itself, the very farm where ginger was produced. Nigeria's ginger has no match in the world, as in world speaking, and I think it's from this Kaduna said that we had over 70% of the production. And then they say, let's improve your ginger, let's improve your ginger. Then they send you seeds, ginger seeds, and ginger pests as well. Then you plant in your soil, and your soil cannot produce ginger again. Eh? Non-cooperation in evils. Are you seeing all of this? And Bill Gates will come to Nigeria and shake hands with the president, and they will all smile together, right? Cooperation with others. Study the principles of business ethics. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. Then ethical decision making. Study all of those. Some unethical issues: bribery, deception, black money. What does this author mean by black money? Yes, there's no the ginger we even have now is not gingering at all. Back then, just a few years ago, Nigeria, Nigeria was known now. It's not like we're joking. We're not. Anyway, God will help us. I know we will recover from all of these things. Okay, good. Another point you need to study: advantages of managing ethics in the workplace. Okay, what are the advantages if you manage ethics in the workplace? What are the advantages? Look at them, study all of them as well. I think that should be the last thing. Yes, very important. Ethical organizations. You see, there was a line I spotted up there, an ethical company. What is an ethical company? I think this is the answer now. An ethical organization is a business entity that has incorporated ethics and values into its bloodstream. Full stop. Not too much noise about that. Are you seeing that? Good. So, characteristic of an ethical organization, their leadership in itself is ethical. They uphold integrity, they uphold their values, there's respect, loyalty, and concern. I think these are just few points there that you have. So this is just an what do you call that thing again? AOC, full stop. I'm not saying anything more than that for you. All right. Okay, so this brings us to the end of ethics. Please let's jump to our topic for today. It's an extension of ethics. Let's see how ethical businesses can be when their activities have negative impact not on human beings directly now, but on the physical environment and indirectly on human beings, definitely, because what happens to the air you breathe will in the long run affect the parts of your body. What happens to the water you drink, okay, and is this thing that what happens to the environment that will now affect the water you drink, the air you breathe in, and then the quality of the food you eat, the crops, and even the quality of clothes you wear, the fabric that you need to produce all of those things, right? So that's what brings us to this new topic called environmentalism. I love the way they put it here: environmental concerns and corporations. Environmental concerns and corporations. Let's see what we have in notes first, and then we'll quickly come back here. Tonight's class may close around 10, as the case may be, so that we can do justice to this. Why is not scrolling now? Scroll. Why is not scrolling? Good, so scroll. So we said environmentalism. So we'll be looking at the following areas: environmental concerns and corporate. Looking at just this chapter, this outline alone, we can just begin to know what the entire topic is about, right? How does environmental issues concern corporations? We already know that corporations is another word for what? Businesses, right? Corporations is another word for companies. Okay. So how do environmental concerns affect businesses? How? Is it that they are contributing factors? Is that business as a whole is a contributing factor to the damages that are happening in the environment? If they are, what are you supposed to do about it? That's also part of corporate social responsibility and ethical behavior. Okay, and how does it happen? And that's what brings us into waste management. Okay, waste, the byproduct of businesses, waste. Okay, some areas in the Niger Delta today, I usually give this example. Some areas, some few villages where they get the very oil that feeds the entire nation. The spillover, the oil spillage, maybe through waste or careless handling. Okay, and then as you have it, pollution. These are all activities of businesses. In some areas you go to, the sound there alone. You go to Agbara Industrial Estate in Lagos, you cannot live around there. The government even tried to make sure that that place is secluded. There's the toxic gas because of the gas, and then they are bringing us back to Bill Gates issue, global warming. They call it greenhouse gases and global warming issues. Anyway, we'll be looking at environmental preservation, and then we'll be looking at environmental protection and regulation, and then corporate environmental management, how corporate bodies or companies take their own steps to manage these things, audit what they're doing, and so on and so forth. So from the beginning, what are we having here? Environmental concerns. Okay. Now, when we say environment, now we're not referring to the entire business environment. You remember the entire business environment that include the external and the internal environment. The external environment include political, economic, social, legal, technological, and so on and so forth, and ecological. So we're referring to just the ecological environment, which is the physical environment where we live and do businesses every day. Okay. Yeah, where we live and do businesses. Good. Apologies. Let me. Good. So, say right now, this is looked at from a global perspective. Why? Because of the expansion of business activities across borders, right? And the influence which business has over the relevant sectors that is likely to make their technicals have their way at all times. Okay, there are areas in Nigeria where you go to. Let me not say that anyway. I don't have proof for that. All right, let's go on anyway. So we said, I want you to consider caring for the ecological environment as a corporate social responsibility of business because they are citizens, right? That concept is what we call environmentalism. So if they ask you define the term environmentalism, what should you say? Environmentalism is a concern for the protection of the natural environment, particularly from the harmful effects that may arise from the activities of those entities that operate within it. That includes businesses and humans as well. Okay, that's what this part does. Businesses, households, governments, and others. So there are many things to say about that. I talked about the Nigerian South South, okay, Agbara Industrial Estate, the poultry town, the poultry in your area where you live, and so on and so forth. So there are different ways that the environments are being affected. One of them is through physical damages. Physical damage. You already know this now. Physical damage. Heavy duty vehicles, when they're shipping goods, it's good to ship goods, or it's good to move one truck of maize, one truck of this, one trailer of that. But those end up in damaging roads. Okay. Mining organizations that mine, they mine and then they don't care how mining is, how they're digging, how they're digging can affect one thing or another. And they've so mined Nigeria to the point that some areas you can't even go to now. They just send headers to drive you away from your land, and then they go there to mine. Use helicopter to park and go away. So that's one of the things they do. Then number two, waste. Another way that companies affect the activities of business affect the society is through waste. So here you need to define what is waste, right? What is waste? Go and define that by yourself. The byproduct from the activities of household, businesses, and all of those. Then, then just read up all the things you can read up about waste here. So there is something that's called waste management, which is like a way to help minimize the effect of waste. So what's waste management? Read that up also. Read it up also. It's the process through which all those wastes are monitored. The ones that can be collected, they are collected, transported, processed, recycled to become useful in some other sense and to reduce their effect on health and then the environment and on the beauty of the place. So read all of those and then Read all of these. These are, you find out past questions on these. Hazardous waste, waste that can be harmful. Okay, maybe harmful, pose physical harm to children or people playing around the places. Electrical waste, things that can explode. Medical waste, these are very crucial, especially medical waste. Okay, that's why you need to be very careful with the kind of things you use. It's because of medical waste. Syringes, needles, surgical gloves, all those things that have been used to operate upon people. Even plastic bottles for water bottles that come from hospitals are not safe. Do not use them because people they use these bottles to, people who are sick might be using these bottles to take out some of their saliva and some of those things. And then somebody will go and will pick those bottles and then wash them and start selling kunu with them. Well, all right. So waste now leads to another concept called population and pollution, not population. Pollution. So pollution and pollution control are another area of knowledge that you need to study under this course, under this part. So what are you studying there? You're studying what is pollution, what are the types of pollution, then what is industrial pollution. Industrial pollution is not one of the types of pollution. Oh. So don't go and say type of pollution, industrial pollution. It's not going to work that way. Okay, pollution that is related to a particular industry, like the oil industry. We know the oil industry is types of pollution. The livestock industry, right? The poultry industry, you know the types of pollution. They have a lot of air pollution in that industry. Oil industry, they have a lot of oil spillage. Okay, pollution of the water and all those things. So every industry can have their own. That's what they call industrial pollution, and that's different from types of pollution. Once types of pollution, we're looking at water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, loitering. Who's this? It's okay. As much as you go back to the topics, it's okay. And then you study as well. Okay, ma'am. Bye bye. All right. So where are we? Causes of pollution and then the effects of pollution. Let's see what we have captured in this note. Okay. Pollution control and prevention. Number one, recycling of waste. This is under waste management. See, these three things now are under waste management: recycling, reusing, and reducing of waste, of the effect of waste. That will go a long way to reduce pollution. There are some waste that have already come out yet. You see, we said waste referred to the byproduct. There are some waste that have already come out, but they've not started polluting yet. They've not started damaging the air or damaging the water. But if they are left like that, you see, that's when to now get to a point where they will start decaying or something like that. Okay, read all of these things yourself. Anyone you don't understand what it means, you can just ask Google or AI for these concepts, but they are straightforward. They're not direct business related terminologies. These are just environmental environmental sustainability discussions. So study them. Issues around green. I'm working from here too because we're going to go back to our notes right now and then we'll run through it still. Okay. I ended this talking about the coronavirus pandemic that happened in 2019, 2020, 2020. All right, so back to the note. Let's see what we got here. So this is where I want to pay back to the text rather more attention. So we've read a little bit about all of this. History of environmentalism. Okay. He said you will notice that this thing has reoccurred in different forms in different parts of the world a long time ago. Okay. So read about all of these. Okay. In the first set of ones, people were more concerned about air contamination, air, water, and soil contamination, solid waste mishandling, and then environmental assessment of certain localities. There are some places you live in before you know anything, you start falling sick. You can say that this was the beginning of this entire practice. Study all this history, they're like stories. So the story should be interesting. Around the year 1272, okay, the then King of England banned burning of sea coal because the smoke was giving them problem. Okay, so that should be the time when that issue came up in that country. However, where we are today, we're looking at a whole lot of things. Countries coming together to make rules around global emissions. And now you see what is a fact and what is not on how foreign countries are trying to make underdeveloped countries. Anyway, let's not go there. Okay. These things are straightforward though. Please read them. There's a part I want us to pay attention to. That's what I'm looking at now. The cost and benefit of environmental regulations. Study this as well. Study the part where foreign countries are, look for it in your notes. The part where foreign countries endanger or damage the environment of developing and underdeveloped countries. They turn this place to a dumping ground. Okay, look for that part in your notes, in your courseware. These are forms of pollution that we talked about: air, light, loitering or littering, noise pollution, soil contamination, radioactive contamination. Straightforward. Please read though, it's as simple as I'm looking at it right now. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. The causes of pollution is waste that causes pollution, nothing more than that. Production and waste. Okay. Any other thing they just tell you about is just out of others. So we've discussed with my waste management, and then I want to look at them: pollution control, and so on and so forth. Greenhouse gases and global warming. Where do you have these kind of things? Where, in which countries of the world do you have these big machines that produce like this? In Nigeria, I think it's just probably NNPC or Dangote Refinery, and then a few of those industrial companies. But can you compare it to what we have in the United States or in China? No. And then they want to plague us with global warming. So who is really warming the world? If it's true that the world is being warmed. Benefits of corporate environmental management. Read this part too. Okay. Start studying them. I don't know where your group assignment will come from, but I'll try and set up your group assignment this week, tomorrow or next, so that you can start working on it, and then you can close out on all assignments before this month runs out, and then you take your quiz. Take your quiz 1st of September. You take your quiz. Your quiz is going to carry 60 marks, 60 questions rather. 60 or 30, one of the other 60 or 30 questions. It's 15 marks though. Okay. All right, guys. There's a whole lot. We'll discuss all of these. Environmental audit. That's pretty much everything on this chapter. I thought it was more than this. Okay, so there's a part where foreign countries have effect on local or should I say, developing and underdeveloped countries. Okay, I want to look at all of those things. So what you should study here should be around the environmental laws, the policies and initiatives by the Ministry of Environment in Nigeria, and everything you have not seen, in past questions is what you should study. Everything you are seeing in past questions, just read it and pass and understand it. But everything you've not seen in past questions before, study it hard because you will see it in your exam. I want to stop here, please. I wouldn't want us to go further. So this class is basically a guide, a long guide that should guide us on how to study this part. So that wants to bring us to the end of corporate share responsibility. In our next class, we shall look at issues that have a direct bearing on the society, which we started already. Yeah, this is the last one, definitely. We'll look at laws, how society gets its ideologies from laws. Okay, so we shall consider different type of laws, how laws are formed, how laws are arrived at. I think we can do that together with the legal aspects of business. So that finally we'll now discuss public policy, and then we'll write our exams. Full stop. If you have a question, this is your opportunity to ask. Then I will let you go and study on your own. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I think one of the most interesting
Thank you, sir.
of this. Hello. Hello.
I can hear you. Go on, please. I can hear you.
Yes, I see one of the most interesting part of it was the funny side when you talk about environmental sustainability. And then you made mention of toothpaste. I say from tomorrow I will no longer use toothpaste. I will go and look for chew stick and start using my chew stick.
I did not
Avoid
say that
dentures of all
too.
those things.
I did not say that
Yes.
too. What I said was,
But it scared me a bit.
you get what I said, okay, so that you understand it very well. There are
Yes, I know.
some
I was just
items that now I understand. Okay, there are some items of
yes.
everyday use that have some
Okay.
elements in them that are dangerous to health, and they are intentionally put there. Okay, and one of them
Yeah.
is fluoride. One of them is fluoride.
Mm.
The fluoride you see in some toothpaste. You also see that same fluoride in thick milk. Okay, and a few other items that even babies are meant to consume. And that fluoride is part of the ingredient that is used to make rat poison. You can do all those research by yourself, Sha. So you know how to navigate your way
Hi.
and avoid.
Wow.
The beautiful thing about these things is that companies are mandated to have the ingredients of their product written on the sachet or the label, so you can choose what you want to
Okay.
understand. Yeah, so that's just what I said about this. I was talking about population sustainability, not environmental sustainability. And you hear
Yes,
it if you
population.
listen to Big Gates. If you listen to Big Gates, you hear it. You keep hearing it. Population sustainability. If we do a good job with vaccines and this and that, we'll be able to reduce. And I'm speaking what Big Gates said now. We'll be able to reduce the population by so and so, and so on and so forth. So in his own words, Africa, human beings are the ones that are breathing out carbon dioxide that is causing the global warming. And these human beings are plenty in Africa. And Africans
Hi.
has a whole lot of them who are worthless and valueless and stuff like that. In his own words, okay. So be careful, okay. Don't say I said
Wow.
so. It's recorded, but do your own research. All right, guys. Please,
there is still academic immunity. There's still academic
now.
immunity. So you are free.
All right, everyone. Please rest ready. Whether
Freedom of speech.
No, freedom of speech is not free. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.